Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football week number 8 picks and predictions, where I predict the final score of every single ranked matchup, guys. And we begin with big noon kickoff. Boy, what a huge game this is. Ohio State only 29-point favorites over Iowa. I think there's a major concern, similar to Vanderbilt versus Georgia last week, of Iowa even scoring. I'm concerned they might get shut out. I've got them at 3 points right now, possibly getting a field goal off of a short field, maybe forcing a turnover. CJ Stroud tries to force one, something like that. But I do have the Buckeyes winning this game 41-3. I think Ohio State's offense will be frustrated a few times in the first half. Iowa does have a very sound, good defense. There's no doubt about it. But the Buckeyes coming off the bye, possibly getting JSN back, possibly getting Mayan Williams back, although apparently they might want to rest him another week. It might just be Trevion. I think the Buckeyes pull away, and it's a situation with Iowa. Again, it's such a historically bad offense. You know, if you want to say the one strength for Iowa may be running the ball, well, the problem is Ohio State has a very good elite defensive line. The major issue for the Buckeyes is the secondary, which should not be a concern considering Iowa's passing game is possibly the worst in FBS or at least Power 5. I'm concerned Iowa might get shut out. I think the last shutout win for Ohio State was in 2015 versus Hawaii, or at least that's the last one I remember. And there's at least a little bit of a concern. Maybe they score a late garbage time touchdown. I don't know. I think it's similar to the Vanderbilt-Georgia game last week. We will see. I've got the Buckeyes winning by a ton. Next, we've got a very juicy ranked matchups. It's a ranked matchup here. Undefeated versus undefeated. Syracuse traveling to Clemson. Clemson right now almost a 2-touchdown favorite. And guys, I think Syracuse's magic ride comes to an end. It's been fun. But allow me to add some context to Syracuse and kind of the schedule they've had. It's been a very easy schedule. We thought they were going to get tested last week. Devin Leary, gets announced right before the game. He's out for the season. That's a major hit to NC State. That's a major morale damper. And they get crushed on the road. Their backup quarterback can't even throw. I think this is a situation where Syracuse, they're an okay team, but they're mainly undefeated because the schedule has aligned very easily. The injuries have worked in their favor. Now they're going on the road at Clemson, and I think Clemson's defense is going to completely own the line of scrimmage. This is a noon start time. I like Clemson winning this game 31-16. The next game, we've got the FCS, UT Martin, the Skyhawks traveling to Tennessee, and apparently UT Martin offered to host this game because Tennessee has to replace their goalposts. Of course, Tennessee coming off that emotional win, getting an easier game here. And you know what? There might be a little bit of hangover, but I think Tennessee will handle UT Martin. I think Hendon Hooker is going to have a lot of momentum and a lot of motivation to put up big numbers in this game to continue to improve, his Heisman stock. Very easy win for Tennessee, the now number 3 team in the nation. Of course, they've got a major trip to Georgia in a few weeks, which could be a 1v3 matchup. It could be a 2v3 matchup. I do not expect that to be a 1v2 matchup because I don't think they would knock Ohio State down at all, because Ohio State faces Iowa and then Penn State. But give me Tennessee big. Personally, guys, this line, because it is an FBS versus an FCS, will not be released until Saturday morning, but I might be tempted to bet on UT Martin. I wouldn't do it, but there might be a hangover for Tennessee, and they're going to be massive favorites. If you guys don't know, UT Martin is, I believe, 4-2. But the one FBS team they faced, I looked at their schedule. I'm forgetting who's the one FBS team UT Martin faced, but they lost like 30-7 or something. The next noon game is good. Here's another good one: Cincinnati at SMU. And guys, originally I had SMU pulling off the upset mainly due to Cincinnati's performance against South Florida, which was a few weeks ago. Cincinnati played really badly. They won late. Then they had the bye week last week. But guys, I have too much confidence personally in Luke Fickell, Ben Bryant, and this Cincinnati offense. They're ranked. I think they go on the road against a solid SMU team. By the way, guys, let's just call it what it is. UCF is the best team in the American. I know we've got Cincinnati, we've got Tulane. Both of those teams are ranked. But I just love UCF. Unfortunately, they're not ranked, so I don't have a prediction on their game. But Cincinnati and Luke Fickell, I just trust them more on the road. SMU, they had that horrible loss a few weeks ago to UCF where they got blown out. It's going to be a close game. I like the over, but I will take Cincinnati to win and hit the spread right on the money. Moving to the 3:30 window, so this is the 3:30 CBS game. LSU hosting Ole Miss. And guys, Ole Miss undefeated right now, inside of the top 10. How about the line on this game? This game opened Ole Miss -2. It's already even, and ESPN's FPI does give LSU, coming off that huge offensive performance against Florida, it gives LSU a slight edge. And to me, guys, this is a total parity game. This is a total correction game. Give me LSU, Jaden Daniels, and that offense. They're getting more confidence. Huge week last week. They're home. This is going to be a big, huge game. And I think Ole Miss really shouldn't be undefeated. They're not that good. They gave up a bunch of yards and points to Auburn. I love the over in this game. I love it to be another high-scoring game on CBS. CBS has had, a good streak with these SEC games last week, and this week I think is going to be another big high-scoring one, and I will take LSU to come out on top 37-34. Maybe a little upset, although I don't know anymore, considering the line is even. This would knock Ole Miss probably outside, or definitely I'd say, outside of the top 10. We've got the college game day game. This is a top 10 matchup. It's the number 9 team, the undefeated UCLA Bruins, traveling to Eugene, Oregon, and it's Chip Kelly's homecoming. Now, guys, both of these teams well-rested, coming off a bye week. Oregon, what a crazy season they've had. UCLA, and guys, I've got 3 words on this one. Trust Chip Kelly. Trust Chip Kelly. There's no reason to doubt him. UCLA football right now is hot. They're going for the playoffs. They might want to host the Rose Bowl. Could you imagine UCLA? They'd probably lose 1 or 2 games, but they possibly could make a New Year's Six Bowl, and they would be hosting it at the Rose Bowl if it happens. But either way, UCLA still fighting for the playoffs as an undefeated team. They're currently 6-point underdogs. I think that's extremely disrespectful to Chip Kelly, guys. Chip Kelly has a chance to save college football and cleanse Oregon and free Oregon and their fan base. And if he wins this game, it would be so inspiring. It would be one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. UCLA on the road gets the win. College game day. Kind of a weird start, by the way. Be ready for this. 3:30 Eastern, so that's a 12:30 Pacific start time. Basically a noon kickoff for Oregon. If I was an Oregon fan, I'd be pretty pissed off about that. I mean, you're playing a big game like this at noon or 12:30, whatever. Either way, UCLA will take it. That offense is unbelievable. Chip Kelly is inspiring. He is a human shield and just an unbelievable vessel of hope for our society. So I will take UCLA to win that one. This is another juicy one. We've got Texas traveling on the road at Oklahoma State. And it's the line is pretty crazy. So it opened Texas -3.5. It's gone to Texas -4.5. And this line reminds me of the Oklahoma line last week where they were 7-point favorites. Everyone was like, how are they 7-point favorites against Kansas? And the line moves and now they're 9-point favorites. And then they cover and win by 10. I think this is a fool's gold line. I think this is a correction game. Texas is not going to have 3 losses. Oklahoma State is not going to stay at 1 loss. Texas beats Oklahoma State. This is a parity game. Both teams have 2 losses. There's going to be a lot of parity in the Big 12 Conference. Quinn Ewers is going to break out. Oklahoma State, for as good as their defensive line is, their defense has allowed too many yards. I love the over in this game. And Texas, their offense was grounded last week. They barely beat Iowa State. Now on the road, they will find their footing. It's going to be a sunny afternoon there at Oklahoma, and I will take Texas by 11 and actually covering the 4.5-point spread. The next 3:30 game is going to be Boston College traveling to Wake Forest. I believe both of these teams were on bye weeks last week. Definitely Wake Forest was. Wake Forest listed -21. I really do like Boston College to keep this game somewhat competitive. That total is 54 total points. I wonder what the over-under is in this game. If the over-unders in this game is into the 60s, I would definitely take the under, but I don't know. It might be in the mid-50s. Either way, I'll take Wake Forest. They've got just a very good offense, and Wake Forest seems like they're on a mission right now, but I do love the value in this game in Boston College covering the spread. Of course, I thought Army was going to cover the spread against Wake Forest. That was not a very good prediction. This one, I'm confident in Boston College. I thought they played Clemson well, even though they got crushed. They were good enough on defense. Wake Forest, to me, is extremely one-dimensional. They can't run the football. It's a major issue. Boston College has a well-coached defense. They will keep this game closer. And originally, my prediction was 27-20. But then I thought I was being a little bit disrespectful towards Wake Forest. I don't like doing that. So I said, you know what? Let me show Wake Forest some respect. Let me grow as a person. It's kind of like how I respect Baylor football now. Although Baylor's been losing, I probably shouldn't even, So either way, I'll take Wake Forest to win that game by 14. And now we've got Tulane's debut here in 2022 as a ranked team. They're going to be at home in a 3:30 mid-afternoon game facing Memphis, who is a very bipolar team. Somebody asked me, who's the most bipolar team in college football? When you talk about an offense and a defense, I think it's Memphis. There's been multiple games this year where Memphis's defense has looked dominant, and in the last two games especially, they've struggled. Their offense has had games where they've been good, other games where they've struggled. I think this is a low-key, high-scoring game, but you know what? I have to predict Tulane to win this game. It's great to see teams like this getting a chance to be ranked. It's great to talk about them. Tulane's had a great team. I think they're currently possibly the third best team in the American behind Cincinnati and UCF. But either way, I don't think this is going to be a situation like James Madison, where James Madison gets ranked and then immediately loses. Of course, I did predict that to happen. I'm not bragging about it, but, either way, I'll like Tulane to win this game late with a touchdown. Use that momentum of being ranked. Memphis will be very motivated, but right now, I'll be honest, it's very tough to predict this Memphis football team because they've had several games very low scoring, and their last two games especially very high scoring. That East Carolina, I believe, double overtime loss, that stings, but that's a pretty good performance. East Carolina's a good team. Either way, I will take Tulane to win but not cover the spread. Moving on to the night slate, we've got a 7 o'clock game, Mississippi State at Alabama. I'm guessing this is the ESPN game. Not 100% sure, but I'd be shocked if it was anywhere else. Alabama coming off that close loss. Mississippi State coming off that demoralizing road loss to Kentucky. So both of these teams trying to get back on track. Bama is -21. I love the over in this game, and I love this Bama offense to really start going full throttle. We saw this team score 49 points last week. Bryce Young looks back. He looks fine. The injury is not affecting him at all. Gibbs, the running back, is a beast. The receivers are starting to step up. I think Bryce Young throws 4 or 5 touchdowns. Alabama gets back on track. Mississippi State needed to win last week. They had to win if they wanted any chance at having a major possible New Year's Six Bowl. They didn't. Now they're running into a buzzsaw a week after Alabama loses a very close, hard-fought game to a really good Tennessee team on the road. They're coming home, and they're going to annihilate Mississippi State. Mississippi State can score a little because they've got the air raid offense. Will Rogers is a really good quarterback, but I will take Alabama easily in this one. It is Penn State's whiteout game. So guys, Penn State last week, the horrible, disgusting performance at home versus Michigan. They're listed as 4.5-point favorites. How about Minnesota coming off a demoralizing road loss to Illinois? Tanner Morgan suffers an injury. And it is a little surprising to me that in a whiteout, Penn State is only 4.5-point favorites. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. I have Penn State winning this game easily. And to me, it's a situation where Penn State's more talented. They're going to have a great home atmosphere. You're facing a quarterback that's quite possibly starting, making his first start ever in the whiteout. It just doesn't bode well for Minnesota. And the only main concern I would have if I was a Penn State fan is the rush defense. But even in this situation, it's like if you're Penn State, you have to sell out to stop the run because Minnesota wants to run the ball. They're going to try and run the ball a ton with possibly a backup inexperienced quarterback. Penn State's more talented. They've got one of the best atmospheres, of the year with the whiteout every single, this is the ABC 7:30 game. I'm sure ABC is a little disappointed because this could have been we were talking about week 3 or week 4, this game possibly being a top 10 matchup. It's anything but that with both of these teams coming off horrible losses. But still, I like Penn State to win this game and cover. Do they start Sean Clifford? I would say probably. Sean Clifford is certainly not good enough to beat a team like Michigan or win on the road, but he is good enough in a home environment, in a crazy environment to use that to his advantage. Maybe he'd be a dual threat, have a rushing touchdown, and easily beat Minnesota. And the final ranked matchup of Week 8 is going to be Kansas State traveling to TCU in a primetime 8 o'clock game. I do like the value in Kansas State here, plus the 5. TCU seems to play extremely close games. I believe Kansas State is also coming off a bye week. TCU, on the other hand, is coming off an extremely emotional win. I think this game, TCU has played really high-scoring games. I'm thinking this game, surprisingly, is a little bit lower scoring because it's later at night, and I am going with Kansas State covering this spread. I could see Kansas State winning this outright and this possibly being a parity game, giving TCU their first loss. Honestly, I probably should have predicted it because I do have TCU finishing 9-3. But either way, this is going to be a close game. I think there's great value on Kansas State, plus the 5. And coming off a bye, TCU, they just had an emotional game. Kansas State's going to be ready on the road. Very close game. I like Kansas State's offense, especially their running game. It is elite. It's legitimate. They've got a very disciplined defense, but they are on the road in this matchup. My prediction, very close game. It could go either way, but I do like Kansas State covering the 5. So guys, that is going to do it for college football, my official week number 8 picks and predictions. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.